Hello and welcome, my name is Divine Disaster, this is Battlefield 1, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the November update released for all platforms just yesterday for Battlefield 1. We're obviously going to be covering the content of this patch, what changes and additions were made to Battlefield 1, especially of course those you should be aware of, and lastly, but likely most interestingly, we're going to quickly talk about what things to expect next from Battlefield 1 as we get closer to the Christmas period. That being said, and jumping straight into it, the first and likely most obvious change brought by the November update is the operations campaigns, essentially two featured operations which upon completion of a set number of total points on each one of those operations will grant you a special battle pack as well as some form of medal the first time you do it. This is nothing more than an easy way to get better skins as well as some extra points. It doesn't actually change gameplay in a meaningful way, sadly. Now when it comes to addition of actual meaningful content, for those of you not in possession of the They Shall Not Pass DLC or Premium Pass, this update brought to you a new map. Nivelle Nights, previously only available to premium users, is now available for all players to enjoy. Let me know what you think of this map and if you'd like me to do a map guide on it. Now that it is essentially a vanilla map available to all players, I will consider doing so if the demand is there. In the department of RSP, big changes were introduced, and big is definitely here in parentheses. That's the way DICE will probably describe these. However, once more, they're quite lacking. Admins can now essentially restart their servers, change the map upon restarting their server, as well as have a larger number of maps in total rotation, 32 to be precise. Sadly, however, RSP is still a shadow of what it was in Battlefield 1, and as a consequence of this, likely the community around servers in Battlefield 1 will continue to stay extremely small compared to its former glory in Battlefield 4. Now, when it comes to comfort of life improvements, this is essentially, in my opinion, alongside a couple of very important bug fixes, what this patch really focused on. First of all, for those of you who've got HDR enabled devices, that of course also requires the necessary screens or TVs, you've now got HDR support for Battlefield 1. Furthermore, when it comes to gameplay changes, scouts can now actually have up to 2 tripwires active on a map. However, you can't actually carry more than one at any given period of time. Essentially, you can put one down, have one resupplied, put another one down without the first one disappearing. However, if you put a third one down, then once more that first one will disappear. A small change, I thought I'd mention it for those of you who enjoy placing down tripwires or are still trying to complete the annoying assignment added for one of the bolt action rifles in the In the Name of the Tsar DLC. When it comes to SLRs, the Chauchat and Ribeirol, they've essentially all received a buff because their muzzle flash and muzzle smoke has been substantially reduced, something that caused quite frustrating deaths, especially in the case of the SLRs, quite frequently for medic players because they suddenly couldn't see their target behind the cloud of smoke that was seemingly emerging from the barrel of their rifle. So good there on DICE to finally nerf that smoke and muzzle flash back. For those of you who like to hunt down medals and like to complete as many of them as you can, you're now going to be able to work on all 5 medals available simultaneously, meaning that essentially it's going to be a lot easier to get those completed. We've also got more skins added to the game, some of them actually quite nice, not that that changes the gameplay in any substantial way. For those of you looking for more substantial changes in the gameplay department, you're going to have to look to a couple changes made to some of the In the Name of the Tsar DLC maps, specifically Volga River on operations supposedly is now easier to attack, with some of the areas the attackers can access changed a little bit up to benefit them more. However, in my honest experience, having played multiple rounds of specifically that operations yesterday, both on attacking and defending team, it is still essentially an impossible job to get past even the first set of objectives on that map unless teams are extremely imbalanced. And I can tell you this because of all the games, and they were about 2 or 3 yesterday that I did play on that map, none of the teams managed to get past the first map of that operations. For a matter of fact, only one team once managed to get past the first set of objectives, just to be stopped on the second set of objectives just after that. Furthermore, to those Volga River changes for operations, Brusilov Kiev has seen some changes to the capture zones and conquest layout, so check those out if you previously did or didn't enjoy that map and let me know what you think. In the bug fixes department, hallelujah, we got the fix for the transparency issue, which meant that most of us were shooting at friendly teammates because they were too far away for us to see their icons. And that, thankfully, has been fixed and is thus no longer a problem. Furthermore, we have a fix for an issue that has been in the game since day one. Deploying on squad mates that die during your deploy animation, that camera zoom in effect, will actually abort your spawn. Essentially, you get thrown back in the menu instead of spawning in front of an enemy likely equipped with a shotgun. This This is a much welcome change, a quite simple change. The only question I really have for DICE is, why did it take you over a year to introduce it? Also, we've now got deploying into gas will automatically activate your gas mask. Deploying in air will automatically deploy your parachute. Quite logical introductions to the games. The same questions, however, arise here as they do with the spawning on dead teammates. Why were they not introduced sooner? Now, for those of you who are tankers in Battlefield 1, you're going to find tanking in the coming days to be a lot easier. That is because this patch, seemingly for no reason, introduced a new bugs where essentially there's a 100% deflection rate for tanks when getting hit by projectiles in the front of the tank. Nobody knows why this is the problem, but it's not only me who's experienced this, frustratingly trying to shoot at a land ship and only getting 2 damage every single time I hit. But if you check out the CTE Reddit forums for Battlefield 1, you will find plenty of players with similar experiences, finding that essentially tanks are now invincible if attacked from the front. Now, having talked about what this patch has introduced, let's quickly go over what to expect in the coming months. Hopefully, with a bit of luck, in the next December update, likely alongside the first part of the Turning Tides DLC. The AD fix that is still being tweaked in the CTE should hopefully by that time be finished. With a bit of luck, our TTK shift, that is the reduction of the bullets to kill for certain weapons at certain ranges, as well as some changes to the way weapons perform at certain ranges, specifically thinking here about the SLRs, bringing us faster time to kills more or less across the board, hopefully with a bit more tweaking. And there is quite a significant bit of tweaking that needs to be done here to ensure that certain weapons don't fall by the wayside and other weapons aren't suddenly extremely OP. This change will be coming in the coming months as well as the change to the shotgun mechanics, making them more reliable. We've also seen, of course, alongside the new content of the Turning Tides DLC, tons of new specializations, some of which are currently hotly debated and for good reason. A video on specializations will follow once we have those new specializations and I can give you guys a complete overview of everything that is available. Now, with those coming changes out of the way, hopefully we see these very important and likely beneficial changes sooner than rather later. I'm hoping for them to really be tied in with part 1 of the DLC to come in December, and not that they are postponed to part 2, which is set to come in January. Now, I'd love to hear your opinion on this patch, what is still to come, your experiences, as well as, of course, your usual video suggestions, so leave those down below or hit me up with them on Twitter. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and with all that being said, I'd like to thank you very much for watching and hope to see you in the next Battlefield 1 video.